Milwaukee has a new M12 Auto Technician Borescope out. This is model number 3150. It has an MSRP of just over $400. That gets you everything here, less the battery. That is a bare tool. Comes with a kit and the Borescope. Now, the big deal about this guy is it has a 5mm camera at the end. There's actually two cameras, one off to the side and one forward. That is tiny. It allows you to get into some small places, and we happen to have a Toro Dingo that is not running real well right now, so we're gonna get in and see if we can find what's happening. We've had issues with this guy running, and the dealership is telling us that we probably have a cracked manifold somewhere, or something is going on through the intake, causing us to have some of these codes. This is a pretty small inspection scope, and we have multiple cameras here. We have this camera on the side and that one in front. We can switch between by simply hitting that button. Pretty sweet. Let's run this guy in and just see what we can see. I don't want to find anything in here, and at the same point I kind of do. I'd like to explain why this machine is not reliably running. And as you can see here, this just looks like a bunch of mush. But let's pull it away slow. Oh, we're caught. Let's see if we can get a different angle. This is a pretty steep twist. There we go. Is another crack in the weld right there. So imagine when this piece gets hot, there must be two welds that go through here. Oh, Jesus. So we have a camera temperature, probably because this thing's been running and it's hot. I'll switch it so you guys can see it. Standing over here, I like to kind of twist this, but either way, you can see that we have a temperature warning. Right in here, if I can move this guy around, is the welds, and I just have to go up and switch that camera view. That doesn't help. It's very clear. I'm past them now. I'm just going to start coming out. And we temperatured out. So if you are going to use this in a very hot area, and it's not so hot to say that I can't touch the end, that's definitely not it. It is warm, but I guess if you're going to use this in a warm area, that's something that might come up. The good news is it took literally a minute to come back from that. So if we drop this guy back in, I'm sure we'll get a temperature warning. I'm just to give you guys an idea of what things are going to look like, how it does colors. I'm a little close to some of these wires, and I do have the LED light on. See if I can just pop the light down a little bit. There, it's off. On a little bit. Off 25%, 50, 75, and 100. So with these colors, it does better with a little bit of light and me being shaky. Now with that said, I have a leak that is happening, and it is up here. In order for you guys to see it, there we go. Come on. It's probably not a good one because it's easy for me to move this through without the camera around. But when I'm trying to get you guys a view also, it doesn't work really well. If I'm trying to get into different places, obviously I can get this camera in multiple places so you can see it. The quality of the picture is pretty good. Like many other inspection cameras that I've used, if you have the light on and you get too close to something, it washes it out. With that said here, I can get around things and get a very clear picture of what's happening. So this guy, priceless to many people. And again, I go back to the size of this tip. It's 1/8 inch around or less, and that is a big deal to me. Taking a look at the controls, the power button turns this on and off, obviously, and it also controls the LED light. See, we're at 50%, push it again, it goes up to 75, again up to 100, one more time down to 0. So that allows us to scroll through the settings of the LED light, which is very nice and intuitive, very easy to find. We can zoom in. That allows us to go from 1 to 4x, and it shows us that up in the top left. We can also switch cameras. So that will allow us to use the front or the side camera, very easy. We can take a picture, tells us it's on the SD card. We can take a video. We're now recording, and we can take that off the SD card, all set. If we want to view them on here, we can go through and look at the pictures we took. And you could also look at the videos. You can see it's a 5-second video. Pretty interesting and nice way of controlling everything here. We can also turn this screen. Obviously, it's easy to maneuver to how you want to hang on to it, how you want to see how everything kind of fits inside. You cannot remove it. You can remove the camera if you'd like. Comes off the back. So you could replace it with a different model or a different size or different length. Very easy and simple to use. There's nothing else really to this. It is a nice camera. Rubber overmold around the side. Here's where the SD card sits on the inside. They do give you a standard size SD card, so you have an adapter so you can plug it into something that may not have the micro SD card in it. Sweet little camera. I'm not sure this is necessary, but for anyone who wants to verify, 5.01 millimeters there. So that camera is small. If we look at the cable, 4.3. So that is actually really tiny to move around. The one thing that I can say, when you are moving it around, it does bend quite easily. So if you're shoving this in somewhere and you need some strength behind it and you have a larger area, obviously this is not the camera for you, but you can push it through pretty much anything if you finesse it. But obviously if you need it to be fairly stiff, this camera is going to bend fairly easily. And you can tie it up and wrap it up into some pretty tight stuff, and it's pretty happy. This is a nice little camera. In our toolbox, we also have another Milwaukee inspection camera. This one's pretty awesome. It allows you to turn the camera head much, much larger when you look at it in comparison. And there's a few features on here that I find interesting. I can take the screen off this guy and move it around, look at it, and have it where I can see and do different things. I like it, but I don't remove the screen that often. Sometimes I get a little bit of interference between the wireless connection. Either way, this is a big camera and doesn't always work in small spaces really well, but it's one that I wouldn't give up because I can change where that camera is looking. So this is a great addition. We kind of figured out a little bit what's going on. I think we have a crack in that manifold that's going to be leaking oil. It's either going to be on the turbo side or something that's going into the intake and then flowing it through. Kind of a mess. So either way, interesting to say the least. I will put a link in the description for this inspection camera. We'll also try to find the video on the other one that we have out. Very interesting. Leave me your comments below. What do you think about this? What do you think about the price? What do you think about everything that it does? I'm very interested. As always, give us a like in this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.